be anyone to talk to me this morning, will there? Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 24th of May. So before we start looking at the markets themselves, a quick look at the possible risk coming out today. We've already had Reserve Bank of New Zealand statement and decision. The decision was to increase by 0.25% as expected. That's happened. If you're scratching your head wondering after they've done that, why is the rate why is the New Zealand dollar not doing particularly well at the moment? It was followed up with a statement that they might start reducing rates in late 2024. Now, anyway, don't try and ask me why that's seen the New Zealand dollar sold quite so strongly. On the other hand, we did have the inflation data coming out for the UK this morning, highest since 1992. I think I just read on something else. Anyway, the core figure is highest since 1992. But anyway, this rate hasn't gone back up to, I mean, obviously this was sitting at 10.1 at one stage, but the core rate, the government are now very concerned about food prices. Well, no, I nearly swore then. Sherlock. Anyway, about time they could. Who couldn't foresee that happening? Right. Put all the prices, everything's prices go up, it's going to be knocked on. So it's like a big surprise, isn't it? Sorry, I'm talking my mind too much here. Anyway, what else we got? We got the Bank of England governor speaking. Now, having seen the high interest rates, he might not be able to steer clear of the discussions on that at 10:30 and 2 o'clock morning in. It is, Eric. And then we got the Treasury Yellen speaking at 3:05. Now just check what she's due to put. Another these fireside chats at this time of year. I think it'd be a garden chat. Anyway, FOMC meetings later. That could obviously get a few crumbs within that's not been mentioned already. So not that much out there really. Most of it's happened. Just watch out for Bailey for the pound. Let's look at the technicals, starting off looking at the euro dollar. Euro dollar still sits in this downward trend. It had a couple of up days, but yesterday saw it eventually rolling through into the later part of the morning and into the afternoon, but then just consolidated and got quite ugly. It seems like this is the way of the markets at the moment. You have one or two bars down and then it just consolidates again, and then maybe even, well, we've got a bit of a rally coming through at the moment. However, I am looking at this quite interestedly to see, we're now back below this big white line that's running right the way across is the quarterly pivot. Just looking to see what sort of reaction it comes from the underside. Before we've had a test, it has knocked on the door a few times, but it's whether or not we see this selling off this morning back, and I'll be looking down towards obviously the prior lows, but more likely the S1 at some stage. Anyway, it's the euro. The pound could be a bit jittery this morning. It has had the high inflation data, which looks like, well, there's a 100% chance now of an increase in rates in June. I didn't think it was that low anyway, so but it's fully priced into these markets, an extra increase now in June. Sorry, I'm just going too quick for my brain to actually talk, or my mouth to talk. What we've been seeing here is the structure here is lower highs, lower lows, but I mentioned it day or so ago, the way it's just started to try and do something. It has since gone through yesterday and hit the S1 here from the week, so it's gone and seen that off, but it's whether or not it will break the structure altogether and manage to push up. At the moment it's sitting there into the weekly pivot. Daily wise, well, it's pitched in quite strongly. It's possibly one to watch. You've got to be careful with the news later on. I do wonder if it will just come back. If all the markets start coming back, it will just catch up. Everything will do pretty much the same and get back into mode. Now, looking then at the US dollar yen, there's a lot of consolidation. I can't even say consolidation at the moment, so I won't. Just above where it is there. the way it's sitting at these highs looks like it could pitch on further. It's been sitting around there for a goodly amount of time. Not really liking it to try and trade. I looked at it yesterday and it's all bitty, and well, okay, we had a nice clean move here at the moment, but still not that keen on it. The US debt ceiling seems to be the biggie. I've been speaking about the Aussie dollar. I'd spoken about it, the range on it for it seems weeks. Anyway, it's just coming down now to the bottom of the range. Possible interest of this if it's was to break the lows here and run down southbound for the depth of the channel at least. It's a possibility. It does look soft. Sentiment soft on the softer on the Aussie dollar again. I think there's certainly scope for that. Lower highs, lower lows all the way through here. It's, as I say, it's not far from breaking the absolute low there. Might just want to wait on it for a bit. Maybe let it break and come back and let it break the lows here. Maybe retest the lows and look to short it. Can't get the words out this morning. The brain's ahead of things. US dollar CAD, don't really want to be trying to trade this. It's at right pigs here. It's been consolidating, a little spike fake out there. Maybe it will push on through here with this stronger dollar we had been seeing pushing on this morning. But it's quite a mess. What an ugly day it turned out to be yesterday. All the way up and all the way back down again. Time was that we saw that 8 o'clock it managed to push up. That's because I said I didn't like it. It'll probably do similar today. New Zealand dollar, well, New Zealand dollar's reacted to the fact of the well, it seems that way, but it looks like the commodities are down anyway. Lower highs kicking through here. Looks like it's heading also for the bottom of its channel there again. We'll be watching for this as we go on through the next few days to see if it breaks down. Usual good old Euro Yen might come into some play later. It looks like it's got further upside potential on this. We'll see. The yen has been selling off this morning quite strongly. I'm just looking at this. I normally would be looking for a reaction off this 50 MA, but the bigger trend is to the upside. I'm sort of looking for the potential break of these highs here. So there is some scope for another surge of this Euro Yen to the upside. The bigger picture has been largely to the upside there. We had the retracement. We keep on seeing this as one of the currencies that's most sold by retail traders, so it seems more obvious to be buying it then. If 80% of them are wrong, might as well go the other side. Okay, Euro Pound spiked down this morning, but it might get back into a trend. It's been more trendy lately, but chopping this week. Last week and into this week a little bit more, trying to break down here with the UK data news, inflation news there, really giving it a break to the low, but looking softer. Right, okay, I'm going to leave it there for now. Actually, I will just check. EuroCAD's back on a bounce again, I know that. EuroCAD, some of my usual suspects. Euro Aussie I look at, that's pushing up as well. See the weakness of some of these markets. The Aussie certainly get caned all the way around at this stage. Aussie CAD. Just have a look. And the Aussie New Zealand. Now this is going to be an interesting one. This is rallying. This I might look at now. I don't normally look for shorting tops or whatever else, but I might be looking to just a bit more evidence on this to sell it again. Why? Well, because it was in a downward trend anyway, and the Aussie's been struggling. They're not. There's no chance of them increasing rates as much and as high as we've seen in New Zealand. And okay, they've got reasoning to be doing so, but I think this might be quite well a bit more like this history back here. We saw some good jobs or something, I think, from the for the Aussie dollar at this point. Here it rallied up and rolled over. We've seen some effectively a comment that rates will be reduced late 2024, whereas a lot of other countries are talking about late 2023. So and we're seeing the New Zealand dollar sold on that basis. I think we could see this coming off. Anyway, there you go on that. It's one to watch, not to jump straight into, by the way. Right, let's have a look at the other markets here. Starting off looking at gold. Okay, so oops, get the right bar. No, I don't want to do any of that. Just press the wrong button there. That's the problem, you get too close to the edge. Right, so gold, well, it's chopping around these lows here. Strong dollar always brings gold down anyway. It's a natural movement, and we've seen the stronger dollar, and we're seeing it reflected here. And well, it's looking weak this morning there. It's put pivot swing in at the moment, looking weak. Pivot underneath. It's how it reacts to its pivot. It's got quite ugly for intraday trading for me personally. I mean, as I say, it could sell off. There is a bit of a channel, sideward box channel going on there, so could come back to the lows. We'll see. Not one for me to be playing with. Silver's about the same sort of pattern. It's a little bit weaker. And again, say it's below its pivot at the moment. It's got the same potential for further downside in my book. Crude, where we look at spot Western Texas today, it's just come up a time frame to the dailies here. Crude seeing a little bit of a move to the upside there. A break of this quarterly pivot that's sitting across here. Could see, I mean, it's tested the underside already, pulled away, testing the underside again. A break might see it sort of move back towards its weekly pivot there, or monthly pivot even. That'll be the one. And yeah, running back towards that. Okay, quick look at the equity markets then. We have the CSI 300 still selling off. I remain bearish on this as I have for ages now, it seems. Anyway, it's still coming off there. The debt ceiling situation, it does have quite a knock-on effect worldwide. These equity markets, they're all down this morning, and they're taking the blame for it largely. Not surprised to see the Nikkei even coming off a bit this morning. It's got all these little gaps to fill or whatever else. It might come off some more yet in the next couple of days. It's due a breather. It's gone up there so quickly, so it's almost like it's due some profit taking to come through there. The Nifty 50 trying to push up here into territories of higher low, sort of trying to push another one in there. I still remain quite bullish on that market. For those following the Aussie 200, just briefly, it remains in its ugly chop. S&Ps, well, not doing too good either. Yesterday they managed to get up to the monthly R1 there, and a couple of days back, and it's not managed to break it. So signs of weakness remain there. I'm saying that in the bigger scheme of things, if we just switch to a weekly picture sometimes, and it is that very slow drift to the upside. This is to be expected at times with markets, and it's just doing what's there. You've got to have these consolidation phases. At least the consolidation sits nearest the high. Now, if we just get a breakdown on the talks continually, well, maybe we'll see a bigger correction to the downside. But this market does seem to be running and chopping. Dow Jones, similar picture. More of the weaker of the three I look at there, the US markets looking as the weaker one. The Nasdaq's been pushing up better, but even that came off yesterday. It's the favoured one at this stage. Okay, DAX and Co. Let me just sorry, just got to do one thing there. Okay, sorry. getting interrupted by children coming and say goodbye. I've got the wrong DAX figures here. Let's just go and have a look at the DAX. There we go, DAX this morning. There we go. So DAX coming off again, and as I say, no great surprise in terms of these. It has been running in a reasonable run. We're seeing this sort of negativity running through the markets as a whole, selling off a little bit at the moment for sure. Some sort of agreement could see in the US, ironically, could see this sort of do some more. I'm looking at the S1 here as well. Probably too early. It's in the short term. It's just looking like, well, they could get some support around the prior highs around that area. The S1 maybe will give us a bit of a bounce short term, but not holding the breath there. Okay, quickly then on to the crypto market. Quick look at the cryptos. Consolidation remains in Bitcoin. Even with a slightly stronger dollar, that's effectively not doing too bad on that basis. Ethereum, same. Chainlink, same. They're pretty much all. There's nothing really pushing these markets too much at all. They're in these horrible periods of consolidation. If you're looking to intraday trade them, sure, there's little movements on there. Some of them are slightly bigger and the more volatile coins, but it's unpredictable, and I can see from some of the traders I see regularly that try and trade them. They're getting caught out in the morning, so best thing is to leave the market alone. It's ugly at the moment. Right, that is it for me. I wish you a great day's trading. Catch you later. Okay, that's not for me for the morning in the